This week's patch caused a major meta shakeup with a lot of new decks popping up, so we'll be going over the best decks to climb to Legend right now. And of course, the big new deck of the moment is the Void Soul Demon Hunter, and kind of the whole meta is revolving around it. I faced it like 2/3 of my matches yesterday, so yeah, very important for like any deck to be able to counter Void Soul Demon Hunter or try and beat it. As long as it's this popular, I'm sure it's gonna slow down a bit, but I'm not sure how much if there's no balance changes. But yeah, the Void Soul Demon Hunter got some massive buffs with the Vicious Void skill, getting an extra Void Soul, and of course the weapon getting extra attack and Void Soul as well. So that makes it way easier to get to those higher Void Souls, higher demons of the Void Souls, and it just makes it so much better. And there have been a lot of different builds for this deck, but yeah, this is the one I wanted to highlight. It's running the Trash Staff Legendary, so yeah, you can prepare it and get with those higher cost demons, make a massive minion. Also, you could get Charge of it, Nightmare Xaviers. I had it as option. I didn't pick it because it wasn't quite the best there, but you can get it as option, so that can be massive burst. And also what we have in this list is the Lasting Legacy for that extra burst, so you can win the mirror faster, because yeah, there's not that much actually damage from hand in this deck, so that can just help you win just a bit faster. It can also work if in a match where you draw a lot, you get to the late game, you can like a Cane plus Lasting Legacy, get some massive charge damage even through taunts, like against a deck like Priest with the Soothsayers, or like a Warlock with some demons, or even in the mirror if the opponent gets like a Void Lord. I'm also running a Viper. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of tech cards, but with the amount of Demon Hunters we have in the meta, Viper actually isn't the worst choice right now, because just how important those weapon charges are for Demon Hunter. So right now I think it's the correct choice to run, but yeah, if there's going to be less Demon Hunters, then it's an easy cut. The second deck we have here is the Face Hunter, which does decent against the Demon Hunter, because it's obviously pretty fast, and yeah, the Demon Hunter does need a little bit of time to get going. So yeah, the next deck as well with the Paladin are good against the Demon Hunter, just because they can just go under the Demon Hunter before they do the broken stuff. And yeah, it's just like before the Contraband build here I got with the King of the Underbelly plus Briarspawn Drake, so you have some late game burst where you can go turn 6 King of the Underbelly, get that Gamagan, and then turn 7, yeah, you combine it with Briarspawn for like 20 burst, so that's pretty amazing. And yeah, just like before the patch, you know, this deck has a ton of burst with that tripwire now. It doesn't quite have the minion focus build of early anymore, it's really just tons of burst from hand. Although I think you still can run more minions if you cut this package. You can then run like the Keldra Fletcher on turn 1 instead, have a bit more early game, just a bit less late game. That's a choice you can make. But I think right now, if you want to climb, this is the best build by just a little bit. And like I mentioned, the third deck we have here is another deck that can go under Demon Hunter with the Aggro Paladin. Yeah, it went a bit away in the last patch, but now I think it's back just because it's super fast, and Demon Hunter again does struggle a little bit in that early game. So right now this has a really good win rate, just because this is incredibly powerful in the early game. Now if you face decks that can deal with that early board, this deck can struggle, but because there's so much Demon Hunter and I can't deal with it, this actually has quite a good win rate at the moment. So if you want to climb fast and beat some Demon Hunters, then this is one of the best decks, if not the best deck. That is the fourth deck here. I got the Mage Shaman. Honestly, I thought this would still be dominating the meta with the one nerf it got to Blazing Invocation, but turns out the nerf was enough, or just Demon Hunter became so strong that it put down Shaman a little bit on the tier list, but it's still a very good deck to climb with, just like before the patch. I mean, not really much changed about the deck. You just have one less mana cheat, but yeah, overall the deck just still plays exactly the same. You just want to use that hero power Mugs magic as much as possible, because yeah, basically having 2 mana ramp starting turn 1 is incredibly powerful, and you can just really overwhelm your opponent in the early game with it. Then we have another Mug Zee Shaman deck. This time it's the Z build, so with just minions in it, and it's actually been doing pretty well this patch. It's not really seeing a lot of play right now, but the stats are pretty promising. And yeah, just like with Mug, you just want to use that hero power to its fullest. That's why you play this deck. Just get that double battle cry, so you want to hit the big battle cries like the Slugclaw that now is bug fixed. Like a card, like a Herald card, any of the Herald cards really. Or like here, get 4 10 drops with it. That can be very, very powerful. It's really easy to Herald as well when you double the Herald of your minions. So just keep in mind always how you plan those battle cries, so you don't accidentally play a small minion, and then you don't get the double battle cry when you really needed it. And then we have the Rogue deck. So yeah, this got nerfed. So yeah, this build just cutting the 2 cards that got nerfed, the Troublemaker and the Vanessa. I think you can still run the Troublemaker though. I think this build was doing slightly better than the one with Troublemaker, but you can really go either way. So if you want to play Troublemaker, you can cut Twilight Mistress and Airlex, play the 2 Troublemakers, and then add a card like Picklock. I think I've seen that one. Here, this Picklock. I've seen that one in some deck lists pop up, so it could be okay. It's like kind of filler, but that could be a play in this deck. And again, this deck is also running, 2 Vipers, because of all those Demon Hunters running the double Neophyte. Also does well against Demon Hunters, and it's 2 mana card. And with this deck, you just want to really rush towards that Jade Guardians. Very important, get those 8 drops out on like turn 6. And that, that just also beats those Demon Hunters. Again, you get the bigger minions out before they do. They don't have great removal, so yeah, you just win with those 8 drops that way. And then if they do build a board, you can just bounce it back with a Narlex Twilight Mistress, get a lot of stats. Again, they don't do well with those stats. You bounce those demons back. They don't have a lot of use in hand, so that's a really strong tempo play. And then, you have some burst in the deck, some value with the imbues. So yeah, Rogue is still pretty strong right now. Then the first Warlock deck, I got a couple more Warlock decks. The patch helped out quite a bit with that Annihilation buff to 8 mana, and especially the Imp Gang Stooge. This one was massive, getting 2 demons at the bottom. So you get way more demons with that Annihilation. That's a great combo now in some of these Warlock decks, and this build seems to be doing the best of all the Warlock decks, and it might just be again because it's the best against Demon Hunter of all the builds, because this build can run cards like Shard, it can run the Vipers, and that's really good against the weapon, just stop them from hitting or just destroy the weapon. And then we also have the Spire of Solitude. Again, you get big minions with this deck, right? You want to life tap, play Unseen Atlas, and overdraw of Godfrey. It really helps, and then you get a card like Spire of Solitude. Gets you a ton of big minions, and yeah, Demon Hunter just doesn't deal very well with those minions. Then if they do get a board, you can Annihilation, clear those big minions while you get yourself. Again, big minions they don't really deal well with. And then you also have Cho'Gall, which actually isn't the worst right now because Demon Hunter is not running a ton of minions. They maybe hit one of those vicious Void skills, get rid of those, get rid of a bunch of Void Souls, and they don't even get to maybe the 10 drop demons. And then the deck isn't as amazing, especially when you can clear those minions with this deck. And on top of it, right, this is a lot of stats. It's like 12 stats twice, I believe, if you have it fully heralded. Again, that's just a ton of stats. Demon Hunter doesn't deal well with those stats. So that's where you actually have a chance against the Demon Hunter. Now, it's not necessarily a favorite matchup, but it can match the Demon Hunter. So yeah, half the meta isn't a bad matchup, but that kind of helps when I think all the other Warlock decks are unfavored against the Demon Hunter. So if you're looking to play a Godfrey Warlock in Standard, this is a great pick. The next deck we have here is the Unholy Death Knight, another very fast deck that can win really fast. Now, I think also this deck goes like 50-50 with the Demon Hunter. Not quite like the Paladin that actually beats it, this just goes even. But again, going even with Demon Hunter is kind of an achievement in the meta. And this deck is just trying to win really fast and win the game with Grave Strength. That's probably most of the time how you win, is just stick a board, then have Grave Strength, and that just does an insane amount of damage, especially with the new Tower of Ghouls, right? This is annoying to deal with. You get those corpses for the Grave Strength. You can also buff the ghouls with the Grave Strength, or give them Talanji's Last Stand, make them 4 drops, make them annoying to deal with, and then buff those minions with Grave Strength, while also drawing cards with the Remnant of Rage. So yeah, the new Tower of Ghouls, pretty great cards in the deck, and overall pretty solid deck to climb with, even though it goes a bit under the radar, and probably the only Death Knight deck you can actually climb with right now. Then here we have the Quest Mage, and yeah, it's exactly the same as before the patch. Nothing really changed here. You just try and rush the quest, play the quest award of the Forbidden Sequence, and then play your 3 drops, Raptor Herald, Stonehill Defender, and Mortius. Those are good, and then you just hope you get the good stuff of it. And yeah, that's just how Quest Mage works. Not much else I can say. That's just how the deck works, and probably gonna work in the next 8 months until the quest rotates. And then we actually have a new deck from this expansion, the Chef Druid. It wasn't the greatest before the patch. Now I think it got a little bit better. It's just okay at climbing. I wouldn't get your hopes up that is some a meta breaker. It's gonna make it very easy to climb to legend, but it's the best Druid deck you can play if you wanna get to a legend. And of course, the power of this deck is in the Chef Network effect, where at turn 6 you have 10 mana, and then you can start playing the big stuff. You get things like Lethal Recipe, Spiteful Chef, and especially Ajar's Triumph. That's really the payoff of this deck, is this Ajar's Triumph. You get those huge minions. Win that way. A lot of decks just can't deal with those minions, and then you win that way, or you just play Moss Binding. You have 2 big minions. So basically, get through that early game, don't fall too far behind, and then win with those big minions. And then here we have the Dragon Warrior. Now, not much has changed in this list, but yeah, the win rate has fallen quite a bit with that Warp Tooth nerf. Now you need actually 4 friendly characters that damage, not 3. So Mother Duck by itself isn't good enough. You still need one more minion or a weapon. But yeah, it's still a solid deck, Dragon War, just like it was before the patch, before Warp Tooth and Hogger. And Warp Tooth is still very strong, of course. If you do enable it, getting 6/6 with charge is super, super strong. Just a lot more difficult now to actually pull it off. So that's why it's gotten a lot worse. But it is still playable and the best warrior deck right now if you want to climb to Legend. Then here we have the second Warlock deck. It's the Rafaamlock Warlock, and right now it actually looks like a playable deck for like the first time. It has a win rate that isn't actually terrible, so yeah, if you want to play some Rafaam, and I know a lot of people want to play Rafaam, well, this might be the best time ever to play it. And again, that we saw with a lot of other decks, we try and get a lot of big minions again. That's good against Demon Hunter, although this deck isn't favored against Demon Hunter, it's slightly unfavored. But yeah, that those minions like the Spy of Solitude or the Possessed Elements just summoning in Ultra Gigasaur, that can really help in a match. So yeah, you really want to get that Possessed Elements because Demon Hunter just cannot deal with a 14/28, not even with a random Flash Flood. And then you just try and control the game, get again those big minions of Spy of Solitude out, just like the other deck. Stay alive, play those Rafaam cards, and depending on the match, try and complete the Rafaam. Though against Demon Hunter, I feel like you probably get more likely to win with actually getting the big minions and just hitting them in the face than going for Rafaam. So keep that in mind. But yeah, late game Rafaam, still a great win con against some of the slower decks, like some other Warlock decks. And here we have a Control Priest deck. This is the exact same deck as I built before the patch, but to my surprise, it actually had a positive win rate. When I looked at the stats, it was the best Priest deck. Now, I did post a video about Azalina Priest yesterday, if you want to watch that, and I had a lot of fun with it and positive win rate. But to climb with it, yeah, I still wouldn't really recommend it. It isn't very good against those Demon Hunters. And this deck is a lot better against it because you got a lot of removal, of course. You got the Sherrod Ruin, although I'd probably recommend playing Sherrod Ruin in Azalina Priest right now as well. Got Ruby Sanctoplasmat, and in late game we got Medivh to deal with a big board with Atiesh and Karazhan, and then especially Atiesh, once you get bored, is way easier to control those demons of the Demon Hunter. And if you want to play Priest, this just looks like the best build to play right now. And then finally, we have the third Warlock deck. Now, I did pretty well with it on stream yesterday, so if you want to watch my stream, you can do that here on YouTube or on Twitch. But yeah, in terms of win rate, it hasn't done amazingly. I think it's just under 50% on HS Guru, so not necessarily recommending this to climb, but it is an option that you can play with, again, those buffed cards. It's a bit different from the Godfrey Warlock earlier. It has a bit more late game, so for example, we got the Morak Forgefiend, the buffed Morak, so you have more synergies with the big demons that you can summon of Annihilation, the Imkang Stooge, so maybe better late game than the other deck with Cho'Gall, but also, yeah, a little bit less early game. Sometimes you just get stuck with a ton of big minions in hand. That's not ideal, but it's really nice when you do get that Morak chain going where just you infinitely have the Morak on the board or big demon and Morak again. So that can be great, especially when you get Umbra, you get more demons in your deck. It just never ends, and yeah, the opponent just can't deal with that. So if you're looking into a bit more greedier build of Warlock, this might be the deck for you. And those are all the decks I've got for you today. So a ton of new decks compared to before the patch when I was actually struggling to find new decks to play, but this patch opened up a lot, although, yeah, Void Soul Demon Hunter is maybe just a little bit overrepresented, but yeah, let's hope that that goes down, or there's going to be some small nerf to it if it stays this way with like half the meta being Demon Hunter. Don't forget, if you want to get these codes, they're in the description. Now, I hope this video was helpful. If it was, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and until next time.